Oh my God, look at me. I'm so crazy. Hi guys, my name is Barry and welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking about spoilers for I Know What You Did Last Summer. If you want to know my full thoughts on the movie, then go and check out my non-spoiler review that I put out just earlier there. But this is just to talk about the spoilers that I couldn't talk about in the non-spoiler review. So let's get right into it. The killers were Stevie and Ray, and possibly a third killer that we'll talk about later on in the video. First of all, Stevie did what we all hate in these whodunit movies, especially movies like Scream or Scream 6 with Dermot Mulroney's character. What Stevie does is when she reveals herself to be one of the killers, she then starts going crazy. She's like, oh my God, look at me, I'm so crazy. And I'm like, that's not you. That's not your character. So why are you changing your whole outlook? That's not the way we saw you throughout the movie. Were you hiding that throughout the film? It just didn't make sense. I did do a trailer breakdown when the trailer came out, and I guessed that Stevie and Ray would be the two killers in this movie. I did point out that the killer in the trailer was definitely female. It had a female body. Obviously, people said to me, you're wrong, you're wrong. And I don't mean to have a big head here, guys, but I'm very rarely wrong when it comes to trailer breakdowns because I break it down so much to the point where I feel like I'm just spoiling it for myself. But yeah, I guessed Ray and Stevie, and lo and behold, I was right. Something in my mind, though, when I was thinking about Ray being the killer, I said to myself, do you know what? It might be a good idea to show Ray as the killer. But I think when they revealed Ray as being the killer in the movie, I didn't like it. I felt like they'd done him a big disservice. It almost felt like, in fact, it felt more of a disservice to him than they did with Dewey in Scream 5. That's how bad I felt for Freddie Prinze Jr. in this movie. He shouldn't have been the killer the way that they'd done it. They dealt with trauma in this movie. Now, they do things in the Scream movies and Halloween movies, the reboots I'm talking about, that we hate. And it's in Halloween they deal with trauma, and Scream they deal with a bit of trauma, and in Scream they killed off Dewey. It's almost like they read online what people hated about the Halloween reboots and the Scream reboots, and they thought, let's take what people hate and make that the main plot of our movie. How is that going to work? How are the audience going to like that? That you've taken two things that we hate, trauma, the way they deal with the trauma, and killing off characters or doing something with a character, a legacy character that we don't like, and they've just mashed it together in this movie. It is a bit annoying when you look at Laurie Strode in Halloween, she deals with the trauma and she fights back. You look at Scream, Sidney Prescott deals with the trauma and she fights back. Then you look at I Know What You Did Last Summer, who deals with the trauma. You've got Ray, who deals with the trauma, but instead of fighting back, he's the killer. Why? Why does he have to be the killer? Why can't he deal with the trauma and Julie James be the killer? When you look at Stevie's reasons, you look at Ray's reasons, he's just protecting Stevie and he didn't want people. In fact, it's just what I guessed in the trailer reaction, that he wanted people to remember what happened in 1997, but they all just brushed it under the carpet, and that annoyed him. He got divorced by Julie. He is alone, and then he's dealing with Stevie, who, again, we'll talk about this as well. He was looking out for Stevie because Stevie's dad left Stevie with him, so he felt responsible for Stevie. Who's Stevie's dad? Maybe we'll find out later. But he felt responsible for Stevie. And then when that accident happened with Stevie and her friends, he felt like he had to protect her. And she felt like, yeah, protect me. Because I knew Sam Cooper, the boy who died in the accident, and she wanted to get revenge for him. But she's a hypocrite because she was part of that accident and she didn't say anything for the full year. So if anything, she's just as to blame as the rest of them. At the end of this movie, the survivors, the girls that survived, they mentioned basically that men are at fault for what happened. If it wasn't for those specific men, then everything would have been fine. But what they're forgetting, and what maybe the director's forgetting, is 50% of the killers in this movie were female, and potentially 66.6% of the killers were female because there might have been a third killer in the movie. In fact, there probably was a third killer that we will be dealing with later on. We got some fun cameos from Sarah Michelle Gellar as Helen, and Brandy Norwood came back as Carla Wilson. Sarah Michelle Gellar's one was fun to look at, but it was very, very cringy. It was a forced cameo because they wanted to show Helen in the movie. Again, it was fun to see her, but it was a dream sequence from Danica because she was similar to Helen's character. So she had the dream sequence and Helen was warning her. It was fun, but very, very cheesy. But when you look at Carla's cameo, that was more intentional and obviously to set up for a future movie. At the end of the movie, Carla gets a chap on the door and it's Julie James. They've not seen each other for years. Julie got a letter. In the letter, it says it's not over, and she got a photograph showing Carla being crossed out. So whoever it is still alive is after Carla. Why? I don't know. But there's potential suspects that we already know of. Stevie didn't die. The girls at the end of the movie confirmed Stevie didn't die. They didn't seem too fussed with it, but on the news it said that Stevie's still at large. So she's still alive, don't know where she is. You've got a potential third killer, maybe the girl with the curly hair, who was very suspect throughout the entire movie. She's potentially another killer. Or because Carla is involved, they might go back to the old Ben Willis timeline, which I would much prefer. Is it Ben Willis's family member? Maybe his daughter? They never mentioned the daughter. Maybe she's still alive. Maybe the girl with the curly hair that we see throughout this movie is related to Ben Willis. Maybe she's a daughter. I don't know. But Carla's back. If the next movie is about Carla and Julie, I'm on board. You know, I didn't like the movie itself. I don't think the movie was that good at all. It was below average. But if they're doing a sequel to this, and if it makes money, then if it's about Julie and Carla trying to figure out who this mysterious person is, yeah, I'm on board. Like I said in my non-spoiler review though, guys, I'm disappointed in the movie. I'm disappointed mostly by the decision to make Ray the killer for the reasons that they did. If Ray ended up being the killer and we found out he was killing people between 98, after the Bahamas incident, and 2025, I would be like, okay, that's pretty cool because Ray is a big guy. So when he's coming after you, he's quite menacing looking, but they made him seem kind of weak in the movie. He got divorced from Julie. He was struggling. There was nothing going right for Ray, and he died very easily at the hands of a really small girl. So I don't know how to deal with that one. Again, he was dealing with trauma as well. And with all these characters dealing with trauma in legacy sequels, what are the chances of the male character dealing with trauma by being the killer, whereas all the other female characters in all the other movies, including this one, they're all innocent? It just doesn't make sense. But there you go. Anyway, guys, since this is a spoiler video, you can leave any comments down below that you want. Talk about anything you want to. Spoil the shit out of this because it's a spoiler video. But ultimately, did you enjoy the movie? Did you like the twist that Ray was the killer? Leave your thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back!